There is a famous African fable that I remember reading many years ago. It goes like this. God creates a beautiful, well-nurtured woman and gives it to a man to be married. So the guy is absolutely excited with his newfound woman and dancing around the place and enjoying himself. But like every other woman, things do start off, right? And then the guy gets a little not too fine with the girl, and he takes the girl back and gives it to God and says, listen, I can't live with this woman. So God's fine about it. Life goes on. But the guy comes back to the old places, his home, and then he's missing this girl somehow. I mean, her nagging, her chatting, her talking, her beauty, he somehow misses it. So he goes back to God and says, I need her back. And God says, why? He says, I can't live with her and I can't live without her. See, that's how complex women are. That's how complex we've made ourselves. But the actuality of it is, women always want to do a little more than what is expected out of them. That makes them complex. So I want to take my reference to Genesis 1:27 about what God speaks about a real woman. So starting from there are two things that God clearly says about women in His creation. One is their distinction, and two is their design. What about their distinction? It says that women were created in the image of God. So our validation is not from our external or how people value us. Our validation is from the fact that we were also created in the image of God. What about design? God created us with softer emotions of love and the ability to cry and smile a bit. But He also made stronger, courageous emotions inside that. And it is only the image of God by design that gives us a healthy balance between the softer emotions and the stronger emotions. Okay, so these two have to be held at a good tension so that we evolved into what God wants us to be. Now I just want to take it a little further onto the flip side. We talk a lot about feminism. So I also want to take feminism into two of these same aspects, distinction and design. What about their distinction? What do they claim to be? They come from an angle of competing and proving that they have a better sense of superiority and authority over the other gender. So basically, their validation is a lifelong struggle. They constantly have to keep competing with themselves and with the other gender to validate and add value to them. So that is where their distinction comes from. Well, what about their design? Their design is basically, they call it empowerment. Empowerment is not unique to women. We have to understand that both genders have to be empowered. People of all age groups, of all socio-economical status have to be empowered. So by design, empowerment is not something that is exclusively to a woman. What is the other design that they crave for? They basically want to have only stronger emotions, and they feel the softer emotions actually weaken them. So that way, they are breaking down the ecosystem that God has created, which is very hazardous in the long run. So I just want to, pull it both together and say how our distinction and our design comes from God. If we try to create any other validation and distinction and design by ourselves, it's a lifelong journey. It's constantly what we are going to have a warfare about, and there will be never a sense of satisfaction. I just want to close by saying, women in every nation, in every community have been achievers. A best example would be Dr. Ida Scudder. She was nothing to term herself as feminist, but she did achieve with her softer and her stronger emotions. So we have to find our validation and our design in how God created us.